FatDag is a Weight Watchers leader in Indianapolis, Indiana. However, the views and opinions expressed during this podcast are his own. They do not represent the views of Weight Watchers. And now, here's your host and wingman, FatDag.
I am your host, FatDag. You're listening to WhysAdvice. My weight loss journey failed when I focused on how. It wasn't until I switched my focus to why that I truly transformed myself. Join the show on the web at FatDag.com and follow along on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all at WhysAdvice. Send in your comments, your questions, your celebrations. I'll include them as part of the show. But before we dive in, remember, when you're out of points, stop eating points. Hey, I'm honored to be your wingman as we walk through this journey together because I believe in you. Well, hello, welcome to episode 179 of WhysAdvice, and thank you all again for being here. It continues to be the way that we know that we're getting it done. We wake up every morning, we stay focused, we stay accountable. That accountability is a huge part in this, and you don't have to be perfect. We've talked about that more than once. You just have to wake up on fire with a goal in mind and go after it. Andrea out of Phoenix, Arizona did that. She writes in, she says, "Hi, FatDag. I've been thinking about how that I want to celebrate 50 pounds lost for a while now. The best thing I could think of is to write to you. This is not my first Weight Watchers rodeo. Last time I did Weight Watchers, I lost nearly 120 pounds. I was at the gym all the time and following the plan for the most part, and it worked. Until it didn't. I was truly out exercising bad eating habits. I would be good all week. I'd go to the gym and I'd do a spin class without eating anything before my weigh-in on Saturday. After weigh-in, I breathed a sigh of relief and I just ate whatever I wanted on Saturday and likely on Sunday too. Soon, my body just couldn't take that lifestyle anymore and I kept gaining. I finally just quit. Fast forward 6 years and 1 3-year-old later, my husband got a job offer here in Phoenix. We sold our house and we packed up our things and we moved from Minnesota. I knew this was my chance to focus on me. Although we truly miss our family and friends, I knew that not being as distracted by get-togethers would really help me focus. I joined Weight Watchers and almost immediately after moving here, and I'm currently an online-only member. Normally, I would struggle with online only, but finding your podcast as well as the Facebook Wise Wingman group has made all the difference. I truly feel like I have the same support as I would if I were attending meetings. Here are some things that I've noticed that are much different now than in the past. In the past, I would let a gain absolutely ruin my day or a couple of days, but now if I have a gain, I don't let it get to me. I can usually see them coming, and I know that sometimes the scale doesn't always reflect how we ate or how much we moved, but eventually the scale does catch up. When I'm struggling, I turn to the Facebook group to reach out for advice, or I will listen to the podcast instead of having an all or nothing attitude and just binging on anything that's in the fridge. I still have a long way to go, but I know that I will not give up this time. I always look forward to the new podcast and checking in with the Facebook group. Thank you for your service to our country, and thank you for creating a safe community where we can reach out whenever we need help. All the best, Andrea." Well, Andrea, congratulations on doing what I think is the hardest part of this journey, and that is getting your mind right. If you can get your mind right, a lot of this falls into place. Now, certainly that's not the only thing we got to worry about, but that is the piece that makes you want to try and do your best every single day. I'm glad you found the Wise Wingman Facebook group, and I agree, it is a safe community. We do a really good job. I have a small team of folks in there who really look after each other, who really are making sure that the posts in there are truly in the spirit of what that group was intended, and I believe we've done very well with that. I'm honored that you chose to write in on your 50-pound loss celebration. 50 pounds. Think about that. And I know that you said you lost nearly 120 before, but you've now lost 50 on the final journey. You've given those 50 pounds back for good. You understand now with the right mindset that you cannot out-exercise a bad diet. Well, certainly you can, but you can't do it for life. You can't sustain it. And I see so many people that's exactly how we do the program. And I was guilty as well. You'd leave your weigh-in and you'd think, well, I have a whole week now before I have to weigh in again, so let me go overdo it. And that continues to keep the bad eating habits alive. As I always say, it keeps your bad habits on life support, and it certainly doesn't work that way. So way to understand that, way to reflect, way to finally get control of what you wanted for so long. I do believe that having a reset when you move from from Minnesota over to Phoenix, it gave you an opportunity to reassess and reevaluate. It broke your routine is all that did. And so often what happens on this journey is that we get into a routine and those routines lead us down the wrong path. We need something to break up that routine. Now, in your case, it was a move across the country, and I don't certainly advocate that everybody all of a sudden pack up and move clear across the country, but something so simple as that breaks up your routine. And when your routine is shaken up, you now have to develop a new routine. And as you develop the new routine, if you develop that new routine in a healthy way, you can get to goal. You can do whatever you want to do. You can live happy. You can live healthy. But it takes you building a new life. And that's what that move allowed you to do. Congratulations on joining immediately when you got there. And then really, really important is as you look back, and I'm glad to see that you've noticed things that are different now than they were in the past. Not being discouraged by a gain is probably the number one thing you can do on this journey. We've talked about more than once that as you work this plan, a gain on the scale is part of the process. It's the trend line that matters. As you continue to add pluses and minuses to your calendar, as you continue to add pluses and minuses to your scale number, you're going to see that there are more minuses than pluses if you stick with it and keep on going. And that downward trend is what we're looking for. Now, certainly in order to have a downward trend, that means there are going to be days where there are positives. We've said before, you cannot get back to your birth weight. It's physically impossible. And you can't weigh the exact same every single day to the 10th. So at some point, you have to have a gain in order to be healthy on this journey. It's how you handle that, how you treat that, how you react to that will certainly determine your destiny. I'm glad to see that when you feel like you're struggling, which is a term that I would like to say we get rid of, on the days that you're not doing it properly, let's go with that, you turn to the Facebook group, you reach out for advice, you turn on a podcast, and you just absolutely take care of yourself to get it done. Andrea, thank you for writing in. Congratulations on your 50-pound loss. You've proven that you can do this. If you've lost 50 pounds, you can lose 51. If you've lost 51, you can lose 52. You can do whatever it is you want to do and get it done. Out of Oklahoma, Mandy writes in and says, well, good afternoon, Mike. I wanted to write in and update you on my weight loss journey. You shared my story on episode 159. I had lost 53 pounds at the time. I'm very happy to announce that I have now lost 70 pounds since October 2017 as an online Weight Watcher member only. I think it's important for others to know that you can be successful without necessarily going to your meetings. I told you previously that my doctor was the one that told me I needed to listen to your podcast and told me to get back on the program before I had major health issues. Well, I'm now writing in today to tell you about my amazing husband. I am so happy to say that he has now joined Weight Watchers to help support me. It's been eye-opening for him to see how high in points things that we generally eat are. I have to admit that at first I was a little jealous since he only has 13 pounds to lose before he gets to goal. But then I remembered how you tell us that the last few pounds are as hard as the others to lose. I have to brag on my husband. His name is Mike too. When you announced your international tour, I informed him and I signed us up for the 5K to run with you. My Mike said, "Great, when are we going to start training?" I'm so thankful to have an encouraging husband that supports me in my journey. We are both looking forward to meeting you on your tour. My mom actually joined Weight Watchers to support me as well. We are working to keep each other accountable. She called me last week and informed me that she has talked to a friend of hers about my success in the program, and she saw my before and my after pictures. My mother's friend also joined Weight Watchers, and my mom introduced her to your podcast. It just goes to show you that posting the pictures and talking about your journey can really help others with their journey. I also want to share that I found out that I get to graduate with my bachelor's in healthcare administration, something I've worked extremely hard on in September of this year. I'm so anxious to pick out a new outfit for this ceremony, and I want really to be at my goal weight by that ceremony. I want to thank you for everything you and your family do for us and walking us through this journey with us. I consider your podcast my daily meeting since I don't go to a weekly meeting. I really like to listen and re-listen to an episode while walking on my lunch breaks at work. I will certainly keep you posted on my story. Amanda. Amanda and Mandy is on Facebook. Way to go. What an amazing email. In a page worth of information, you gave me a lifetime of success. Congratulations on your 70 pounds. Congratulations on being so inspirational that every single person who comes in contact with you wants a piece of this success. Your husband, your mother, your friends, every single person who sees you, you're making it look doable, you're doing it, you're getting it done, and they too want to completely change their life. You absolutely can be successful on this journey without attending meetings. I didn't know that I had the ability to do it. I needed that level of accountability, but I see more and more people who are able to get it done with sheer discipline, dedication, determination, and a whole host of tools that help them getting it done. I still love your doctor. I think your doctor is amazing for pointing you into the direction of this podcast, but more so is that your doctor took the time to sit with you and have a heart-to-heart conversation that completely saved your life. You took the advice and you acted on it. That is about the best reward you can provide back to your doctor as a thank you. Way to go and get that done. Now let's talk about the jealousy with your husband wanting to lose 13 pounds. And you're right, you lose the last 13 the same way you lost the first 13. And in his case, if you don't like the way you look and feel at 13 pounds overweight, it's the same mentally as someone who doesn't like the look or the way they feel when they're more overweight. So we don't ever say you only have 13 to lose, you only have 10 to lose, you only lost 20. I don't think that plays into the picture anywhere. I think, again, the mindset is exactly the same, is that you have to understand that you're now completely eating differently, you're changing your life, and you're getting it done. And it's absolutely funny how, it happens to all of us, right? Is if we start, when we start finally on the program, we start scanning everything in sight, we track a normal day, and it doesn't take us long to realize that, I think I see the reason why I was overweight. In my case specifically, there was a meal that I used to eat regularly that's 89 points. And I know for a fact I've had it for lunch and I've had it for dinner on the same day. It's a no wonder I put myself in the situation. And now, it's a meal that when I have it, it's definitely a completely rare opportunity for me to have it. Certainly not going to have it twice in the same day. So certainly don't let jealousy kick in. Use this all as an education opportunity. I also can't wait to meet you. It's going to be absolutely fun as we travel across the country, run about 8 races. If you go to fatdag.com, click on the calendar, click on the events, you'll see the 8 locations that we're going to do a 5K in all across the country, starting in Biloxi, and then we move over to Tulsa. We get up to Denver. I think we're going to go to Toronto, Washington, D.C., Philly, Indianapolis. I'm probably missing 1 or 2. And then we're going to end it in San Francisco. So yes, it's absolutely going to be amazing to meet all of you who are out there listening, but Mandy and Mike can't wait to meet the two of you for sure. Lastly, I want to say again, I mentioned it in your response, but I'm proud of you. I really am proud of you because not only are you changing your life, you're changing everyone's life around you. And a lot of it is why I continue to do the podcast. It's why I post 18 trillion times a day on Facebook. It's why I set up an automated routine to post 18 million times a day on Twitter. Because I don't have the capability to share all that as much as I want to share it. And the only reason I want to share it is because of what you have confirmed right here in this email. People see this success and they want a piece of it. They want to know that someone who they know, who they can see and touch is getting it done. And when we prove that it's possible to our close inner circle, they join us. And when they join us, friends of theirs join us. And every single person changes their life. And often it starts as simple as a Facebook post or a Twitter post. And that is how we get it done. Kim writes in, says, "Hi, FatDag. Corey in Connecticut's story is the same as mine. I want to know if she's on Connect. I feel the need to reach out to her so I can have an accountability buddy. I put it in search, but I didn't find it. I know you're super busy, and I appreciate all that you do. Your focused wing woman, Kim. Kim, I forwarded your email on to Corey, but it looks like the two of you have made a connection on the Wise Wingman Facebook group. So absolutely reach out together and absolutely get it done. So thanks for your email." Deb writes in and says, "FatDag, I'm a bit perplexed. I hit my 50-pound loss mark the first January weigh-in. Since then, I've bounced around, or I've stayed the same between 50 and 55 pounds. I thought I've been doing the same stuff as I'd been doing all along. I'm measuring, counting, tracking. I'm getting my blue dots. To say I'm not frustrated would be a lie. Is the magic over? Maybe I can't do this. Help, please." Well, Deb, when I got your email, it came in as an email, and then, of course, we chatted on Facebook. So a lot of this conversation you and I have already had, but I want to share it with the community because I think it's very, very important. And so the first thing we have to understand is that you've lost 50 pounds. You have completely changed your life and lost 50 pounds. You feel better. You look better. You are better in every single way, and you're not a quitter. There is no magic to this. And so, no, the magic isn't over. And so I asked you in Facebook what are you proud of? And how do you feel? And do you feel better? And isn't that the goal? If for some reason you didn't lose a single pound from this point forward, but you didn't gain it either, isn't that still very, very successful? I think it is. And I think as we now look back and we adjust and we see maybe we're doing something slightly different. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit in an upcoming email. But it's important to look back at the journey and see how things change, because often the things do change on our journey. And so I would ask you too, and we talked about it in the chat, is what would you tell to your students is if your students came up to you and said, hey, I'm really struggling in the class. I have a B+. You would look at your student and you would say, well, you have a B+ in a really hard class. Congratulations. Yeah, I know, but I can't do this. I think I'm just going to drop out. Well, why would you drop out? You got a B+. Yeah, but this is hard, and I was up all night studying, and I studied every single thing, and I got a B+ on the last test. You would look at them and you would congratulate them on working hard and studying and way to go and way to focus on them and way to get it done, and celebrate the fact that you got a B+. That's what you got to do. You got to look at everything that is going well in this journey. When you take the time to look at the things that are going right, more things that are going right will pop up. If you take the time to focus on all the things that are going wrong, then more things that are going wrong will continue to pop up. What would you rather be reminded of daily? The things that are going well or the things that aren't going well? I don't know about you, but I think as things that go well in my life continue to pop up on my radar, it makes the day that much more enjoyable. It makes the journey that much more fun. It makes me want to share it. So I keep looking for the positive things in life and celebrating them. Deb, you're down 50 pounds. You've completely changed your life. Now, let's find the recipe for success. Let's continue to stay focused on being healthy, living healthy, eating healthy, and let your body determine what it needs to do as a result of everything that you can do for it. Thanks for writing in. Always an honor to chat and talk with you. Next up, Tais writes in and says, hi, I listened to your show when I wrote you an email before, and you had mentioned about my tracking and how my eating had changed. I took the time and I went back to September and I reviewed until November, sporadically checking in on the days. I noticed that I was basically eating more fruits and salads and veggies as snacks and meals. I would have my protein as you should in every meal, but not in larger unweighed amounts as I was since Freestyle. I decided to start eating this healthier way again, along with calorie tracking. Working out has stayed the same, and I'm down 4.8 pounds since February 9th, 2018. Your advice was spot on to look back and see my changes. I noticed with Freestyle, looking back to December to the end of January, I was eating all 0-point foods, then I was using my points for bigger portions or more point foods. I would have a big 0 lunch, then wash it down with an 8 to 15 point coffee and a granola bar, and still have points for dinner. I blamed Freestyle for my weight gain, and I decided to leave, but learning what I learned from you and seeing the negative choices I made and learning how to adjust, I reactivated. I am so grateful for your advice, and I hope the sincerity can translate because I truly felt my old ways were becoming habits. Thank you in all ways. Thank you, Tais. Tais, congratulations. That's goal. You figured it out. You figured out the key to success, and by looking back at what you were doing to be successful, comparing that to a plateau, comparing that to a change, that's when you recognize it. That's why I say tracking is very important in this journey. I don't care if you track negative. I don't care if you track, well into the hundreds per day, at least initially. What I care about is you've documented everything so you have something to look back at. And then as things don't work or things need to be changed, you have an opportunity to go back and look at your tracker and scroll through, and you can see the difference in what you were doing then and what you're doing now. Whichever one of those you like the better result of is what you need to do more of. Now, I've seen that pretty common is that we, because of the 0-point foods, that we can fill up on 0-point foods, and then we have all of our points left, and we don't make the best choices with them sometimes. That's a piece that we still need to wrestle with. That's a piece we still need to get control over. It's why I still think in some instances it makes sense to track some of the 0-point items, at least for quantity, so you can kind of see them. Certainly the program doesn't require it. That's kind of an ad lib that I throw in. That's my own personal advice. But I think it's important for some of us to be able to do that because we can see that. And it's funny how, we blame Freestyle, but in the reality is something significantly shifted when the plan shifted. Learning to make the choice, learning to make the change, absolutely is where you found the strength to get it done. Isn't it fun when you can go back and look and see the change in your tracker? Now, it took you obviously going back to September and November, but aren't you glad now that you had that data to look at in September? Imagine how if you would have gone back into your app and all of a sudden you pull up September and everything was blank. You'd have nothing to compare it to. Folks, it's important to write down what's going on. It's important to follow the plan. We always say the plan certainly works, but you've got to follow the plan. You can't reinvent it. You can't make up your own plan. You certainly can, right? But you're doing 2 or 3 different things and trying to figure out which way works. But let's work with a set plan that we know has worked for us and follow it. And we certainly can get it done. The word freestyle, we have to understand that comes with a grain of salt, is the word free certainly has derailed a lot of people. And so, but it's really easy to fix that. It's really easy to understand that just because it's 0 points doesn't mean it's free. You don't have to track it. You don't have to be accountable to it in that regard. But that 15 chicken breasts for dinner is too much. But we can figure out that before when I was tracking it, the size you were having. And if you're eating considerably more at every meal, you can see that. And that's when you make the adjustment. That's when you celebrate down 4.8 pounds since February 9th. That's absolutely you getting it done, making it happen, and I'm proud of you. Thanks for writing in. Thanks for the celebration. And I want to know what is it that you're celebrating. Let's share it on the air. Go to FatDag.com. Click on Listen Now to send in your celebrations. Click on WhysAdvice Podcast. Send in your celebrations. Send in your comments, your questions. I'll work them in as part of the show. I want you to email in your celebrations because I want you to be proud of what you're doing. I also want you to email in because, as you heard earlier, somebody else can relate to your journey. We're a community of people who are getting it done. We're in the Wise Wingman Facebook group. Is so many people, but what we have realized is that we are all walking the same journey. When you share your journey and when you take the strength to write in what's going on, what you've experienced, the good, the bad, there is somebody else out there that hasn't yet found the strength to write it in. And they believe they're walking this journey completely alone. When you write in, you take an opportunity to reach them where they are. And when you do that, you bring them out of the dark. You bring them into an opportunity for them to go, okay, I can do this. That's called being the prize. That's called reaching back and helping people. That is why I want you to write into the show. Because we build the community of people who are getting it done. We are all walking this journey together and doing it. Well, that's going to do it for this time. Remember that losing weight and getting healthy has nothing to do with luck. You have to remain disciplined and focused. Set your sights on your goal and go after it. I wish you could focus. Thank you for listening to the WhysAdvice podcast. Did you know for as little as $1 a month, you can take the next step as a wingman and support the show? Visit FatDag.com, click on Become a Patron today.